What's up? J Street Moto here, and welcome to the channel. Today is going to be a walk around of my bike Darla, a 2018 Road King Special. Just kind of letting you know what I've done to the bike and show you, some of that stuff. So if you've got questions please leave them in the comment section. As always, like, subscribe to the channel if you're interested in the content, and always ride safe. Thanks. Alright, good morning. So I got a request through the comments of doing a walk around on the bikes. So I don't have Juan and David's here with me, but I do have mine, and I apologize up front for how dirty it is. It's a beautiful day here in North Carolina, and I've got a limited window to ride in, so I figured I'd do this walk around real quick with the bike dirty. I'm not going to clean it before I go for a ride. So let's start at the back and work our way forward. First off, I'm going to start right out the bat by saying my motor is bone stock. I've done nothing to the motor. I've not changed the air cleaner. I haven't added a tuner to it. I've done zero work to the motor other than the standard maintenance and shit. So we'll start there. So we'll go from the back to the front. I'm running the RC component slip-on mufflers, and I've had those installed since I bought the bike at Raging Bull Harley Davidson in December of 2017. As we go up and kind of forward, you have the seat that I'm wearing, or the seat that I'm using. The Lepera Maverick is what I'm running on this bike, and I tell you, I bought this seat specifically for the passenger pillion because my wife and kids were griping at me about the stock one and how uncomfortable it is. So I picked this seat because of the back seat. But I found out after I bought the seat that it's fantastic for the rider. Biggest thing I like about it is how deep and how sharp this cut is here. If you can kind of see it, it's almost a 90 degree, and it really makes it so it's almost like I've got a backrest for the rider. And that's a good thing, because the only downside to this seat is if you like riding with a rider backrest, it does not have the whole cut for you to be able to put one of those in. Other than that, this seat's fantastic. I've got probably 40,000 miles or more on this seat, and no complaints. Zero. It's one of the most comfortable saddles I've ever ridden in. So we'll keep going forward. And a couple of little amenities that I've installed. I do have an aftermarket underlight LED kit. The switch to operate it's right here. And came from Ditrio. I got it like Christmas the year after I bought the bike, and I've put this system on 3 different motorcycles. So this one, and I gave it and installed it on Juan's, and I think I gave it and installed it to David as well. So one of the cool things there's a lot of LED kits out there, aftermarket LED kits out there. One of the things that I liked most about the Ditrio, and really the reason that my wife bought it for me, is it's one of those kits that wires into your brake light. So if you wire the system up correctly, it doesn't matter what color you are running at night, when you hit the brakes, the entire bike turns red. Every place that you've got an LED strip goes red. So it makes it a heck of a lot easier for people to see at night. That's a good thing when your bike is completely black. Because that was kind of hard to see at night. The other thing that has been wired in right here, you kind of see it right there, that switch. That switch is wired up to a garage door opener that is sitting on top of my ECM underneath the seat. So when I pull into the driveway now, all I gotta do is hit that button and the garage door opens, which is really convenient for me because I was getting very tired of carrying around a garage door opener. Continuing to move forward, right before this last trip to California, I did add, or a buddy of mine, Chris, he was swapping out his linkage from the shifter to the transmission, because he had read that the stock one, if you guys still have yours, it's got rubber grommets in it, and it really starts to break down over time. It gets very, very loose. This is all metal, and I really like it because I can get, it's definitely doesn't have the play, that the other one had. So, and I don't have to worry about it breaking and leaving me on the side of the road. I saw a video that Ryan Erlacher, the law-abiding biker, did a couple of years ago maybe, where they took a road trip and this actually broke on one of the guys that was taking the trip. And so it made it very difficult for him to shift the bike until they were able to jerry-rig something up and fix it. We'll stay low for a second, and I did add the Hogworks lower fairings. Now I got the ones without the speaker pods because at the time I didn't have a windshield, so there was no reason to have speaker pods down there. But you know, I looked at Avant Black and I looked at the Harley ones too, and I just prefer Hogworks. I prefer their vent system. How it closes, how it opens. I feel like I get a little more airflow to the motor with this than I would with the Avant Black. That's why I went with it. While we're down here, I'm running the I think it's the Dominion series Harley Davidson highway pegs. They match my Dominion series grips, which I've had on the bike since, oh god, these have been on the bike for probably 50,000 miles if I had to guess. Great grips, I like them. While we're up here, so handlebars, I've got the KST Customs Renegades. They're 14-inch. I love these handlebars because I did not have to replace the stock clutch and brake cables. All I had to do was buy a wiring harness extension. The other thing I've got going on up here is this guy right here, the Kuriokin Road Thunder Max by MTX. This is a 300 watt Bluetooth speaker. It's wired directly into the battery of the bike. It has a USB port over here to the side, and that allows me to plug in my phone and power it. While we're up here, this guy, Zero. This is and I forget what exact model this is, but it's the one that has a little vice grip on it. This is the phone mount that I use, and I think y'all might have heard the story when we were talking about the buzzard hitting me. I had this mount on the bike. The buzzard basically hit here, came over top, hit my phone, and then landed, basically hit me in the chest, landed in my lap because I didn't have the windshield on. This wasn't on at the time. So it hit hard enough that it moved my mirror, and the phone was still in there. So I got nothing but props for this guy because I've never lost my phone. If you've watched some of the series, you'll know that David and Juan both had phones fall off their motorcycles while we were taking the trip this past summer to California, and this guy's never let me down. Let's go back to the speaker for a second. So prior to installing this, well, let's talk about the Memphis Shades first. So this is my fairing. So I bought the Memphis Shades Road Warrior fairing. I think this is I want to say this is an 11-inch windshield. It's the tallest windshield I could get that was this tint. I wanted something dark. I didn't want something light. And so I could go taller with this windshield, and it probably would be more helpful because I get it catches me basically right at the top of my forehead is where the wind gets routed around me now. So it blocks a majority of the wind, but I still get hit some with it in my head, which isn't a big deal for me because I'm used to riding without the windshield. Prior to putting this on, I was good up to about 65, 70 miles an hour being able to hear this. Once I got above 70, this is useless if you don't have something blocking the wind. Since I put this guy on, I'm now good. I haven't found a speed yet that I can hit that I can't hear my speaker. So now what I tend to do though is I'm still getting you get a lot of wind noise in your ears. So I do, from time to time, especially on these long trips, just from a fatigue perspective, I will put in Bluetooth earbuds and run those, just because it cuts down on some of the wind noise and I'm still able to hear my music. One thing about the Memphis Shades fairing that I will talk about, it is mounted to the bike with a pretty cool configuration. So basically just a metal bracket that has a quick disconnect on it that you can flip up and then roll it forward and take it off. So anytime I want to make my bike look different, all I have to do is, you know, take 2 seconds to pull the fairing off. What happens though is at really high speeds, this thing will shake around on you a little bit, and that's kind of expected, I think, unless you have like a hard mounted fairing like what would come on a street glide. I think you're going to have a hard time finding anything that you would affix to your bike yourself that's quick disconnect that isn't going to kind of shimmy around on you a little bit at highway speeds. But you know, that's something you live with. I've not found that it has caused any issues. I adjusted it in a way so that I've got a decent gap between my handlebars and the windshield. I've got a gap between the windshield and the camera, so it's not bumping into anything on the bike, so to speak. But it is something that, you know, for some people, I've heard people, you know, complain about it, that well, you know, I can see it moving around. Is that an issue? And I guess it's, you know, they want to make sure it's not going to go flying off the bike. I can't see that happening, but you know, for what it's worth, this is how I mount the GoPro up. And I bought this, I think I got this on Amazon. I don't even know who the manufacturer is of it, but it's just a little C-clamp that has this arm here, and I can just keep it mounted on the bike. The GoPro goes in here, or the camera goes in here, and it serves as a constant reminder to me, hey, dummy, record video. Because in the past, I was wearing it either on my helmet or on a chest mount. And I'd have to remember, all right, well, we're getting ready to get into an area I want to video, so let's pull over, let's get the camera out, let's put it on us, let's make sure it's running. And I have a hard time seeing what the camera's doing, so I can't start and stop it. With it configured this way, and with this setup, I'm able to turn the camera on, hit record. My battery life on the camera is about 20 minutes, give or take, before I have to swap batteries. And I'm not using a GoPro, by the way. I'm using an Akaso 7000 Pro, I think is what I've got. Yeah, EK 7000 Pro is what I'm running. So it's got a little shorter battery life, and it does get hot. So what I do is I turn it on, I hit record, I record for maybe 2-3 minutes, then I stop recording, turn the camera off, and so I could save battery. And then every time I stop for gas or whatever, I pull the camera out, swap the battery, stick it back in, and start the whole process over again. So I end up taking a bunch of little, like 2 to 5 minute long clips throughout the day. And David kind of has the exact same setup and does things the same way. So that's I think that's it. I think that's everything that I have added to the bike that would be of interest to any of you. I do have plans to do motor work, but the kind of motor work that I want to get done is something that's well beyond my capability. So I'm going to be taking it to a builder and having him build it out, and that'll probably be a whole series in and of itself about what we ended up doing. Bought the bike with 3 miles on it, and as you can see, we are at 60,833. So bike's got a lot of road miles on it, and it still rides like a champ. It still performs exactly the way I want it to perform, and still the most comfortable bike I've ridden. I've tried street glides, I've tried road glides, I've tried the Ultras. I don't enjoy them as much as I enjoy riding the Road King Special. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed this walk around. Maybe you learned something from it. Maybe you picked up some stuff that you would like to put on yours. I don't know. If you've got questions about anything specifically that you saw, feel free to leave it in the comments and I'll get back to you and let you know, kind of very specific answers to any question that you have. I will say this. Hardest part of installing this guy is you're going to have to pull your gas tank. I had to pull the gas tank because you are going to route this big fat honking cable along the backbone of your bike all the way down to your battery. So that was the hardest part of installing the Kuryakin. The hardest part of installing the bars, because I did all of this work myself, hardest part of installing these bars was routing the internal wiring, specifically on the throttle side. These are very sharp angles. One's going up, coming down, and then hitting a 90 degree at the bottom. And we had a hell of a time getting it in. In fact, it was so hard, I ended up taking the bars to my local Harley shop and asking the guy that does their bars to just do the throttle side, because I had everything else together. He did it, came out, it took him 2 hours, took him about 2.5 hours to do it, and he charged me only an hour, because he was like, man, I gotta tell you, these were probably the top 5 hardest bars I've ever had to run cabling through on the throttle side. So if you go with these, just keep that in mind. It's gonna be a little tougher to get them through here. We put bars on David's bike. We put ape hangers on his as well and routed his wires, but his bar configuration wasn't as sharp with the turns, so we were able to route everything through his without any issues. One more thing about the engine guards, or the lower fairings. They only mount to the larger engine guards. So if you've got a bike that I think it was 2021 when Harley switched on their touring models to that mustache engine guard, the lower one, I don't know that they make lower fairings for those yet. So something to keep in mind. A lot of you guys I know are sporting bikes that are newer than mine, that aren't, they're 2021 and newer versus the 2020 back, because this is an 18. So okay guys, it occurred to me when I did the walk around of Darla the first time that I did not tell you all about the fact that I have replaced all the lights on the bike with LEDs. These specifically I got from a company called Paradise Lights down in Florida. It's a veteran-owned company. They've got a lifetime warranty, and I can tell you I have used that warranty. I've had the lights pretty much since I bought the bike, and so it definitely comes in handy. One of the reasons I went with this company, besides the fact that they were veteran owned, was because of the headlight. Specifically, they sell LED bulbs to replace your stock light, so you can keep the stock can. I like the look of that. I don't like the way the halos look and all that stuff. The Daymakers, all those, I don't like the way they look in the headlight case. So I went this route, and I can tell you right now, when I ride and I'm behind people, I get a lot of complaints about how bright my light is, even during the daytime. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I covered that, because I forgot to mention that when I first walked. Alright, well, I look forward to the comments. Hope you enjoyed walking around Darla with me, and hope you saw something you might decide that you want to use on your motorcycle. Later.